I'm posting this from a hospital in Tromsø, Norway. I have frostbite on 7 of my fingers and a hole in my memory roughly 18 hours long. Out of the 9 researchers who flew into Station Zhukovo on March 3rd, only 3 of us flew out. The official report says catastrophic structural failure due to subsurface glacial shift. That is a lie. I know it's a lie because I was there when we pulled it out of the ice. And I was there when it opened its eyes. I need you to listen to this, all of it, because if I disappear, and I think I might, someone has to know what's underneath the Siberian Arctic shelf. My name is Dr. Alan Mercer. I'm a paleoclimatologist with the British Antarctic Survey. But in February, I was seconded to a joint Norwegian-Russian expedition studying methane deposits beneath the permafrost near Novaya Zemlya. The kind of work no one outside academia cares about. Methane pockets, ice core samples, data sets. Boring, necessary, invisible. Station Zhukovo was a prefab research outpost. 3 interconnected modules bolted onto a rock shelf about 40 kilometers from the coast. When we arrived, the wind chill was -52. The sun hadn't risen in weeks. The only light came from our flood lamps, cutting white circles into a darkness so thick it felt like a wall you could touch. The first 3 days were normal. We drilled cores, logged temperatures, argued about data. Dr. Ingrid Halvorsen, our glaciologist, was running sonar scans of the subsurface layers when she found the anomaly. 12 meters below the permafrost, there was a cavity. Not a methane pocket, the acoustic signature was wrong. It was too regular, too geometric, almost perfectly rectangular, roughly 9 meters long and 4 meters wide. "That's not natural," Ingrid said, staring at the monitor. I looked at the data. She was right. Nature doesn't make rectangles. Nature doesn't make flat walls. Whatever was down there, someone or something had built it. Now, I want to be honest with you, because I think honesty matters when you're telling a story like this. In that moment, I wasn't scared. I was thrilled. This was the kind of discovery you dream about, the kind that rewrites textbooks. Every scientist in that room felt the same electricity. We were already imagining the papers, the press conferences, the TED Talks. We were idiots. Enthusiastic, well-educated idiots. We spent 2 days drilling down, and here's where things started getting off. The temperature dropped another 11 degrees. 2 of our generators failed. Yuri Petrov, our structural engineer, said the rock beneath us was behaving strangely. Micro vibrations that didn't match any seismic pattern he'd ever seen. Not random, rhythmic, like breathing. On the morning of March 6th, we broke through. The cavity was real, and it wasn't empty. We lowered cameras first. The feed showed walls, smooth, dark walls that didn't look like ice or stone. They looked almost like glass. Black glass. The floor was flat, perfectly flat. And in the center of the chamber, embedded in a thick slab of ancient ice, there was a shape. At first, we thought it was an animal, some prehistoric creature preserved in the permafrost, like those mammoths they find in Siberia with grass still in their stomachs. Ingrid was already talking about publication, about what this could mean for our careers. We were excited. God help us, we were excited. We cut through the floor and rappelled down. 7 of us went. 2 stayed topside to manage the winch. The chamber was warmer than it should have been. Not warm, maybe -10, but the permafrost surrounding it was -38. Something was generating heat. Yuri pointed his thermal scanner at the ice slab and went very quiet. "It has a heat signature," he said. "A faint one, but it's there. I told myself it was geological, some kind of geothermal vent effect, but the look on Yuri's face told me he didn't believe that either. We set up halogen lamps around the slab and began clearing the surface ice with heated tools. Slowly, the shape inside became visible. It was humanoid, but wrong. Let me try to describe this accurately because I think precision matters here. 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso, a head. Close enough to human that your brain wants to call it human, and that's what makes it so disturbing, because the longer you look, the more wrong it gets. The limbs were too long by maybe 15%. The fingers, 6 on each hand, had an extra joint, giving them a segmented look, almost insectile. The skin was the color of a deep bruise, purple-black, with a faint shimmer to it, like gasoline on a puddle. And the face. God, the face. It had features, eyes, a nose-like ridge, a mouth. But the mouth was wide, too wide. It stretched almost to where human ears would be, and it was closed in an expression that I can only call a smile. Not a warm smile, not a dead smile, a knowing smile. The kind of smile you'd see on someone who just heard the punchline of a joke you haven't been told yet. The worst part? The eyes were open. Now, I want to pause here because I know what you're thinking. Open eyes? After 40,000 years in ice? Come on, Alan. And you're right. You're absolutely right. It's impossible. That should have been our first warning. Ice crystals destroy soft tissue. After 40 millennia, those eyes should have been collapsed, opaque, gone, dust. But they weren't. They were clear, dark, and they caught the light from our halogens with this wet, living gleam that made my whole body want to leave the room. And then, and I swear this on everything I have left, they moved. Ingrid walked past the slab. The eyes tracked her, smoothly, deliberately, like a painting that follows you across a gallery, except paintings don't make your survival instincts scream. We should stop, I said, out loud, in front of everyone. Career be damned. Ingrid told me I was being dramatic. Kowalski did his nervous laugh. Yuri said nothing. He was already backing toward the rope. I should have followed him. Kowalski took a sample, a small ice core drilled from near the thing's hand. Standard procedure, completely routine. The heated probe touched the slab and the chamber hummed. Everyone froze. Then the hum stopped. And in the silence that followed, we heard something else. A sound from inside the ice. Faint. Wet. Like a tongue unsticking from the roof of a mouth. Kowalski dropped the sample. It shattered on the black glass floor. "We'll leave," Yuri said. "Now." For the first time all week, nobody argued with Yuri. We didn't leave fast enough. 3 of us were on the rope when the slab split. Not cracked, not fractured. It opened. One clean line, end to end, and the 2 halves fell away like someone opening a gift. The thing sat up. I don't want to describe the way it moved. I've been trying to write this paragraph for 40 minutes. The closest I can come is this. Imagine a human body that has never moved before, discovering what its joints can do. There was a terrible curiosity in it. It turned its head, slowly, and looked at each of us in turn. The smile never changed. Then it made a sound. Not a scream, not a word. A frequency. Something below human hearing that I felt in my teeth, in my eye sockets, in the base of my skull. Everyone grabbed their heads. Ingrid fell to her knees. Blood came from Kowalski's nose in a thin, steady stream. And then, and this is where my memory starts to fragment, it stood up. It was tall, nearly 3 meters. The extra jointed fingers flexed and unflexed. The skin rippled like something underneath was rearranging itself. And it walked toward Kowalski, who was closest, and it reached out with one long arm and touched his face. Kowalski stopped screaming. He stopped moving entirely. He stood perfectly still, eyes wide open, and then he smiled. The same smile, that wide, knowing, terrible smile. I ran. I don't remember climbing the rope. I don't remember the 18 hours that followed. I'm told Yuri and Dr. Sanna Linkvist pulled me onto the surface, that the three of us somehow reached the emergency transponder, that a rescue helicopter found us 11 kilometers from the station, walking in a straight line through -60 wind chill with no survival gear, walking in the wrong direction, away from the coast, toward the interior. Yuri doesn't remember either. Sana hasn't spoken since the rescue. She just sits in her hospital bed and stares at the wall. Sometimes she smiles. I don't like her smile. Station Zhukova was found collapsed. Official cause, structural failure due to subsurface glacial shift. I read the report. It's fiction. I've seen the satellite thermal imaging from March 7th, the day after we cracked that slab. There's a heat bloom beneath where the station used to be, 300 meters in diameter. And it's growing. I've tried to contact the Norwegian Polar Institute. I've tried to reach the Russian Arctic and Antarctic Research Institute. My emails go unanswered. My calls are redirected. Yesterday, a man in a grey suit visited my hospital room. He didn't identify himself. He told me that Station Zhukova never existed, that our expedition was administratively dissolved, and that continued discussion of unfounded claims would be treated as a breach of the Official Secrets Act. He smiled when he said it. I'm posting this because I don't know what else to do. Something is alive under the Arctic. Something old. Something that was put there, in a chamber with smooth walls and a flat floor, sealed beneath 12 meters of permafrost, by someone or something that wanted it contained. And we let it out. If you work in Arctic research, check your thermal satellite feeds. Look at the coordinates 74.2 degrees north, 55.8 degrees east. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me the heat bloom isn't there. Tell me it's not spreading south. Tell me Sanna's smile means nothing. Please.